All forms of fear extend the space I occupy in the human mind.
Welcome back to Badass Conjure, Oshun Ajay exclusive, and No Narc Network TV. I'm the Oracle / Badass Witch, Oshun Ajay, and we're going into lesson 2 of our Dissecting the Devil series, where we are taking apart and closely examining the audiobook by Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. Okay, and again, the goal of this study is to prove my theory that narcissistic personality disorder is not just a personality disorder, but it is in fact a spiritual affliction and a level of demonic possession. Okay, and so there is a lot of good information in this audiobook. In part 1, we did get some good information and a good insight into the psychological makeup and the personality type of the quote-unquote devil, which again I will continue to point out as we go forward is identical, because it is the exact same spirit that a narcissist is playing host to. Okay, so we are going to start lesson 2 where we ended lesson 1, and this is so that nothing is being overlooked. And if you guys have any questions or concerns regarding the lesson 1 or 2, you can leave a message under this video. You can email me at goddess111, that's GODESS 111 at gmail.com. And if you guys want to get in on the private No Narc Network, you would subscribe to Oshun Ajay exclusive or BadassWitch exclusive, and both of those links will be in the description box. Okay, for those of you who have sent in Cash App and PayPal donations, thank you very much. On a lot of the days it was totally unexpected and totally made my day, so I do appreciate you guys recognizing that it does take hard work to edit these videos and to to just do the work that we do, period. And so when you get these extra little bonuses, it really is it just makes it all worth it. And it's not about the money, but it's about the appreciation. Okay, and so those of you who have sent in donations, you will be going on the money altar on Thursday, okay, which would be today. So we will be burning ancestor money today on the money altar. Okay, so my Cash App and PayPal will also be in the links in the description for anyone who would like to send in a donation to help support the channel, and also to be added to the money ritual that we do every Thursday. Okay, so going forward, let's go into again, we're going to begin lesson 2 where we ended lesson 1, and let's get right into it.
Your Majesty, will you explain how you gained this control over human beings?
The story is too long to be told in a few words. It began over 1,000,000 years ago when the first man began to think. Up to that time I had control over all mankind, but enemies of mine discovered the power of positive thought, placed it in the minds of men, and then began a battle on my part to remain in control.
So I was having trouble with this part because, when he said, because of course I told y'all, he does lie. And so, but the way that this makes sense is that, just imagine that starting out, everyone is basically innocent and not even really aware of this negative charge, because, the world is just what it is. It's just mostly, the energy of God. Okay. And so you have this very small negative charge. If you guys remember the illustration from lesson 1 of the positive and negative charges in the of the atom. Okay, and so he represents a very small part of the charge, and the negative charge is not very big. But at the same time, if you have these innocent people who are completely unaware of this negative element, then I could see how it would be very easy to influence their minds, without them knowing that it was something that was not going to be, it was going to be detrimental to their well-being and to their spiritual growth. Okay?
So far, I have done quite well by myself, having lost only 2% of the people to the opposition.
I take it from your answer that men who think are your enemies. Is that right?
It is not right, but it is correct.
So men who think are the enemy of the devil, which explains why all of the quote-unquote teachers end up being crucified in this realm. For one, they are vibrating too high for this realm, and in the enemy who rules the lower realms, simply cannot tolerate having such a bright light in their world. Okay, if you think critically and are very discerning, especially spiritually discerning, you are a threat, okay, to the powers that be in this realm. Okay, and so you automatically become an enemy. Like I said, there have been plenty of teachers who have come and to inspire others to think, and these have been the ones who have been assassinated, okay, and crucified in this realm. But the knowledge of the fact that if you keep your mind occupied by doing things like reading, by learning, exercising, and doing things that cause your own thinking mechanisms to kick in and be used, then you will not be, vulnerable to these wandering spirits or this wandering spirit to be able to move in. When the seeds of negativity have been planted in your mind and you recognize these, and again, they're going to appear as worries about things that could possibly happen in the future. And a lot of those will probably be attached to things that have happened in the past. Okay. That does not mean it's going to happen in the future. And you need to recognize those as the seeds that the devil plants. Okay. And is depending upon you to nurture so that they will grow. Okay. And instead of nurturing these by giving it your energy, you want to dig these up by the root, and you want to throw them out, and you want to replace them with new and different thoughts. Okay. You can choose your thoughts. Okay. And by doing so, you will be creating your world. And so to create a new world for yourself, choose new thoughts for yourself. Okay?
Tell me something more about the world in which you live.
I live wherever I choose. Time and space do not exist for me. I am a force best described to you as energy. My favorite physical dwelling place, as I have told you, is in the minds of the earthbound.
So he's basically telling you that he consists of negative energy, and that he infiltrates your mind by planting the seeds of negative thoughts within your mind, and then having you nurture them by giving those thoughts attention and energy.
I control a part of the brain space of every human being. The amount of space I occupy in each individual's mind depends upon how little and what sort of thinking that person does.
So the less you think and the lower the quality of your thoughts, the more vulnerable your mind is to inception from the devil. Meaning that the more that you allow your thoughts to be influenced by other people and other things, and which types of other things, as far as the quality of it and the vibration of it. So basically negative thinking and, following other people instead of thinking for yourself, instead of doing research for yourself, instead of finding out in the same way that you expected those people to know, and to go get it from the source course, like they did, instead of getting information from other people, the more vulnerable you are. So, you have to, the key to this is to begin to take control over your own thoughts and to monitor the quality of your thoughts. If the thoughts are negative, you have to monitor the quality of your thoughts and understand that those negative thoughts did not come from the Most High, and they are not conducive to you growing or healing or getting any better, stronger, or wiser.
As I have told you, I cannot entirely control any person who thinks.
The statement that an idle mind is the devil's playground, it's exactly true. And so when your mind is not idle and you are focused on a goal or something that you're trying to reach, then this is the perfect defense against your mind being infiltrated by this negative energy. So monitoring your thoughts requires you being aware of the media, as far as the movies that you're watching, the news especially, the music that you're listening to. All of these things serve as tools for the devil to plant the seeds of negativity in your minds, okay? So, like I said, think about, go through your Netflix selection of movies or any, streaming service that you have, and I guarantee you that 95% of it is horror movies, blood and gore, violence, all negativity, okay? Go turn on your news, okay, your local news or the national news, and you're going to see the same thing, okay? Listen to a lot of the music that the young people are listening to, and you're going to hear a lot of the same things. And this is becoming aware of the fact that all of these things are tools for the devil to plant that negativity, those seeds into your mind. It is it's imperative that you begin to change some of the habits that you have been, some of the habits that you have that enable this to happen, okay?
You speak of your opposition. Just what do you mean by that?
My opponent controls all the positive forces. Of the world, such as love, faith, hope, and optimism. My opponent also controls the positive factors of all natural law throughout the universe, the forces which keep the earth and the planets and all the stars balanced in their courses. My opponent also controls the positive factors of all natural law throughout the universe, the forces which keep the earth and the planets and all the stars balanced in their courses. But these forces are meek in comparison with those which operate in the human mind under my control.
So I want you guys to continue to, make parallels between the psychological makeup of the quote-unquote devil and the narcissist, okay? Because, again, it is identical because it is the same spirit. So as he compares himself to the Most High, he, of course, makes himself superior, even though he is admitting, that the Most High basically controls everything and everything good in this world. He still, like the narcissist that he is, sees himself as superior. Okay, so just make note of that, and also continue to remember that the reason why certain things are being repeated is because those are things that I need you guys to take note of and to hold in your memory, okay?
You see, I do not seek to control stars and planets. I prefer the control of human minds.
So, like the typical narcissist, since he does not have the power to control the planets and the stars and all of the beautiful things in the world, of course, he has to devalue being able to do those things, and he has to pretend that he does not want to do those things, and of course, to make the things that he is able to do seem like the things that he would prefer to do. Okay, so again, the devil is a liar. He lives in delusions, and so does the narcissist, okay?
Where did you acquire your power, and by what means do you add to it?
I add to my power by appropriating the mind power of the earthbound as they come through the gate at the time of death. I add to my power by appropriating the mind power of the earthbound as they come through the gate at the time of death. 98 out of every 100 who come back to my plane from the Earth plane are taken over by me, and their mind power is added to my being.
So 98% of the people who die in this world are going with the devil because of the fear that they take with them. Okay, so this is the reason for the scary movies, the blood and gore, all of the horror stories on the news, the preaching of fire and brimstone in church. This is the reason for all of these things being placed into your mind during your lifetime, so that at the time of your death, there is a form of fear there that he can grasp onto to drag you straight to hell.
I get all who come over with any form. Of fear. You see, I am constantly at work, preparing the minds of people before death, so I can appropriate them when they come back to my plane.
Will you tell me how you go about your job of preparing human minds so you can control them?
I have countless ways of gaining control of human minds while they are still on the Earth plane. My greatest weapon is poverty. I deliberately discourage people from accumulating material wealth because poverty discourages men from thinking and makes them easy prey for me. My next best friend is ill health. An unhealthy body discourages thinking. Then I have countless thousands of workers on Earth who aid me in gaining control of human minds. I have these agents placed in every calling. They represent every race and creed, every religion.
Who are your greatest enemies on Earth, Your Majesty?
All who inspire people to think and act on their own initiative are my enemies. Such men as Socrates, Confucius, Voltaire, Emerson, Thomas Paine, and Abraham Lincoln. And you are not doing me any good either.
Neither am I.
Is it true that you use men who have great wealth?
As I have already told you, poverty is always my friend because it discourages independence of thought and encourages fear in the minds of men. Some wealthy men serve my cause, while others do me great damage, depending on how the wealth is used. The great Rockefeller fortune, for example, is one of my worst enemies.
That is interesting, Your Majesty. Will you tell me why you fear the Rockefeller fortune more than others?
The Rockefeller money is being used to isolate and conquer diseases of the physical body in all parts of the world. Disease has always been one of my most effective weapons. The fear of ill health is second only to the fear of poverty. The Rockefeller money is uncovering new secrets of nature in 100 different directions, all of which are designed to help men take and keep possession of their own minds. It is encouraging new and better methods of feeding, clothing, and housing people. It is wiping out the slums in the large cities, the places where my favorite allies are found. It is financing campaigns for better government and helping to wipe out dishonesty in politics. It is helping to set higher standards in business practice and encouraging businessmen to conduct business by the golden rule. And that is not doing my cause any good.
So keep in mind that this book was originally written in 1938, okay? So at the time, the Rockefeller Foundation may have had very good intentions and had been doing very positive work, okay? I believe, and this is just my personal belief, is that since then, like the devil said, he has, agents all over the world of every race, creed, color, and religion doing his works. And I believe that since then, since that was one of his main, one of the main foundations that he was against, it did not like what they were doing. I believe that since then that several of basically that the devil has infiltrated the Rockefeller Foundation, because as we all know, that is one of the big quote unquote Illuminati families, okay, which is again just nothing but the devil's agents who are doing the work here on this earth plane.
What about these boys and girls who are said to be on the road to hell? Are you in control of them?
Well, I can answer that question only with yes and no. I have corrupted the minds of the young by teaching them to drink and smoke, but they have me baffled through their tendency to think for themselves.
You say you have corrupted the minds of the young people with liquor and cigarettes. I can understand how liquor might destroy the power of independent thought, but do not see what cigarettes have to do with helping your cause.
You may not know it, but cigarettes break down the power of persistence. They destroy the power of endurance. They destroy the ability to concentrate. They deaden and undermine the imaginative faculty. and help in other ways to keep people from using their minds most effectively. Do you know I have millions of people, young and old of both sexes, who smoke 2 packages of cigarettes a day? That means I have millions of people who are gradually destroying their power of resistance.
So the quote-unquote devil uses cigarettes to gradually destroy your power of resistance due to the fact that it is a habit that becomes subconscious and thereby falls under the law of hypnotic rhythm.
One day I shall add to their habit of cigarette smoking other thought-destroying habits, until I shall have gained control of their minds. Habits come in pairs, triplets, and quadruplets. Any habit which weakens one's willpower invites a flock of its relatives to move in and take possession of the mind. Any habit which weakens one's willpower invites a flock of its relatives to move in and take possession of the mind. The cigarette habit not only lowers the power of resistance and discourages persistence, but it invites looseness in other human relationships.
I never thought that cigarettes were a tool of destruction, Your Majesty, but your explanation throws a different light on the subject. How many converts to the habit do you now claim?
I am proud of my record. Millions are now victims, and the number is increasing daily. Soon I shall have most of the world indulging in the habit. In thousands of families I now have followers of the habit, including every member of the family. Very young boys and girls are beginning to take up the habit. They are learning how to smoke by observing their parents and older brothers and sisters.
Which do you consider to be your greater tool for gaining control of human minds, cigarettes or liquor?
Without hesitation, I would say cigarettes. Once I get a young person to join my 2-package-a-day club, I have no trouble in inducing that person to take on the habit of liquor, overindulgence of sex, and all other related habits which destroy independence of thought and action.
So basically what he's telling you is that when you become addicted to the habit of smoking cigarettes, which is one of the easiest habits for him to get you addicted to, you are essentially giving him access to your mind. So, because a lot of people, if you notice, when people are smoking, they're doing it unconsciously and not even really thinking about it and kind of zone off. While they're doing it, which again gives him access to their minds to plant seeds for them to do, all sorts of other godless activities.
Your Majesty, when I began this interview, I had you all wrong. I thought you were a fraud and a fake, but I see now that you are quite real and very powerful.
Your apology is accepted, but you need not have bothered. Millions of people have questioned my power, and I got most of them at the gate as they came over.
Millions have questioned his power, but he got most of them as they transitioned. And this was because even though they questioned his power, they still feared him on some level. Okay, so the fear has been planted in many ways. Okay, through the music, through the movies, through religion, in school, in all sorts of different ways. This fear is constantly being reinforced in your life, so that by the time you do make the transition, there is some sort of fear that he can grasp onto again to drag you to hell. So just keep that in mind.
I ask no person to believe in me. I prefer that people fear me.
So like I said before, whoever taught you that, all of the scriptures that speak of fear of the Lord, and whoever taught you that fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, was talking about their God. The devil has made it clear who their God is. And because your God, the Most High, has instructed his children to fear not. Okay, so just keep that in mind.
I am no beggar. I take what I want by cleverness and force. Begging people to believe is the business of my opposition, not mine.
So notice the arrogance and the personality of the quote-unquote devil, and again, parallel that with the personality of your classic textbook narcissist, and also the fact that he sees everything as a competition. Okay, and so in any narcissist that you know, they also, whether they're covert or overt, meaning that, you know, if they're overt, then you can clearly see that they don't hide the fact that they see everything as a competition. But the overt, the covert narcissist, they try to hide the fact that they see everything as a competition. But if you are discerning, you still can tell. But the point that I'm making is that the reason they act this way is because their father is the father of lies, and their father is the devil, okay? Which again is my point and my theory with the whole entire study, okay? That the personalities are parallel, okay? So I think we've had enough today. So I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Go back over the video, take note of the places where things were being repeated, because those are the things that you should be taking note of, okay? So this is going to end lesson 2 of Dissecting the Devil. If you guys are interested in joining the private No Narc network, click the link for Oshun Ajay exclusive in the description. And until we meet again, my people, keep it classy, keep it clean, and do what you gotta do to make shit happen. Peace.